Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a great day. It's time for us to have a very honest discussion with one another, all of us together, to kind of brainstorm to figure out ways to move past all of this stuff that's currently going on. For those of you who are unaware, the new jobless report numbers have been released. Currently, just within the United States alone, there are now more than 40 million people who have filed for unemployment. To put this into context, you have in many states, you have to typically be over 15 or 16 years old in order to be able to work in general. So anyone 15, 16 and younger, they're now working around the ages 62 to 65, depending on where you are or what state you're in. After that point, you are then able to retire. Everyone else in the middle, 40 million people, are now without jobs. And these are the people who are eligible to be able to actually apply for jobless benefits. So typically you've been working at a company for a very long time. You've been working there for over a year. I've been watching stuff over the last couple of weeks where there are many small business owners who are actually liable for paying their employees some type of an unemployment, what's the word? Unemployment something, as they are looking for new jobs, which also currently aren't there. There's also discounting the amount of people who may be illegal within the country and other people who were working for less than that 1 year period who are also out of jobs. So when you read around and you type in 40 million, you'll find tons of news articles. But if you dig a bit deeper, you'll also find out that it is probably roughly around anywhere from 55 to 60 million people just within the United States who are eligible to work, who are currently without a job. And of course, they're expecting as the weeks go on that we're going to see a further uptick in the amount of people who also are looking for some type of jobless benefits, because it's hitting every single one around not only the globe, but just in general. So part of the issue is, there's a lot of issues when you really want to dig down deep into it. A lot of places around the world have started to reopen. A lot of these are soft reopenings simply because a lot of people don't want to go back to work. They're afraid of going back to work. They're afraid of coming back home and hurting their families because of everything that's been going on. Also, a lot of major places that hire tons of people, whether it be factories, movie theaters, any type of store or mall, a lot of these are also not opening up because, once again, no one knows exactly what's going to be happening. However, what's also taking place, for those of you who are completely unaware and had not been watching the news in a while, a lot of these malls, a lot of these stores, a lot of these enterprises, a lot of these institutions are filing for bankruptcy. And it's not like a soft bankruptcy, like, oh, we need some money, so let's file for bankruptcy. It's like, no, these jobs are probably never, ever, ever going to come back. And that poses a major problem because, once again, when you read around, though the jobless numbers say 40 million and are probably roughly around 60 million, a lot of the jobs, especially for hotel workers and a lot of other places, people aren't as eager to travel around at the moment. And it's expected, if this continues to go on for a while, they're not going to want to go back to work or travel around anytime soon. So a lot of these industries are going to completely falter and crumble apart. So the best case scenario for a lot of this is that if we have another 3 to 6 months of this, best case scenario, and people do start and are allowed to go back to work, a large portion of those 60 million jobs that were there before simply will not be there ever again. A lot of people are discounting, and a lot of times you may see, especially on the news as well, you see that Apple's doing fairly well. Amazon's doing great. Amazon stock has almost, since all of this really began, because everyone's buying stuff from Amazon, which we're going to get into a couple of seconds as well. But people are looking at the actual other figures. When you look at the actual performance of the stock market over the last couple of months and you see all these companies are doing really well and the stock market starts going up, a lot of the huge chunk of the stock market is actually based off of these major mega FANG companies: Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, blah, 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 blah. All the digital, in many ways, places you can either absorb content or be able to buy things online digitally, are doing exceedingly well. The other places, like not even getting into the fact that mom and pop shops aren't also doing well in the slightest. Everything else, all the other companies, if you look at the actual numbers, are also faltering on a daily basis. And a lot of the reasons why the stock market is continues to go up right now, for those of you who also haven't been paying attention, governments around the world are currently printing trillions of dollars. That's not a fake number. That's not a whatever. trillions of dollars to push into the stock market to kind of keep it afloat. But part of the problem is that they're putting a lot of that money into mega companies who, after 4 weeks of all of this going on, while you were losing your job, these companies after 4 weeks were pleading to the government, we're broke. Can you please give us billions of dollars to stay afloat? That money's going to them. And this is why a lot of people around the world are also pretty annoyed right now, because a lot of the money that should be allocated to them are going to companies who, mind you, same exact thing in 2008, 2009, a lot of the companies that were receiving funding from governments around the world to stay afloat, especially the banks, actually ended up going under. A very small percentage of them actually stayed afloat, and these are the ones that you still hear about right now. So imagine how great it's going to be in about 6, 7, 8, 9 months, the companies who received billions of dollars start going under, and then you realize that all of that money could have been sprinkled onto the actual people who need to feed their families and need to pay for their rent. 40 million is an insane number. The numbers went from, I think it was 300,000 to 1.6 million to 2.4 million to 14 million, 20 million, 25 million. I think it was 37 million the last I checked, and is now officially. Usually we get numbers from the week before. So that means the week before, those numbers already hit 40 million people who are unemployed. And that's not even considering the people who have been furloughed or the people who have part-time work. I have a couple of friends who are still hired at their job, but they're maybe getting 2-3 hours a day. But listen, it's better than nothing. I'm sure they appreciate those 2 to 3 hours to be able to buy food and stuff like that. But at a certain point, it doesn't really go that far. So this is why I said, and I decided to make this video, I really think we have to brainstorm ourselves. I can only give you so much information. I made this channel to try and help people out financially. I did not expect all of this would be going on as I created the channel. However, here we are, so let's work together to do it. If you hear me say something in this video that you think you can elaborate on, make another cool idea, something crazy, awesome, amazing, write it in the comment section below. And I don't mean that as a joke. I mean that literally, if you are able to think of another way to be able to help people to make money during this entire thing, by all means, please do so. Because the idea that, and once again, these jobless numbers tend to once again usually come from the States. I know a lot of other countries that are also dealing with the exact same thing, and their governments aren't printing trillions. They may be printing a couple $100 billion, and they're going directly into these industries. And a lot of the governments think that these people are still okay because they are able to have 15 hours per week for their job, which is not exactly the case. I've mentioned this before in other videos, and I think it's time to actually execute it. Find, when this video's over, make a checklist, make a pile in the living room. I don't care where you do it. Find as many unnecessary things in your house as humanly possible, things you haven't used in 3 months, 6 months. And you know in your heart you're never going to use these things anytime soon. Push them all together, make an eBay account, make an Amazon account, and it's time to sell them. I mentioned this before in another video about a good 1 or 2 weeks ago. The amount of people I keep seeing in these things online, and I guess it's because I watched one of them. What's it called? Like those CNBC news features, and a lot of other ones are popping up because of the algorithms as well, where they pretty much show people, I don't have a job, I don't have any money, I have 2 kids, I have a wife, I don't have any, you know the story. When they show these people's houses, a lot of times there's just a lot of clutter and a lot of stuff all over the place. And I sit there thinking, I'm like, I understand that you are currently without a job. You don't have much money coming in. However, a good way to alleviate at least 5% of this would be to start selling the stuff inside of your house that you simply do not need. I know it sounds ridiculous. You would be surprised at the amount of stuff that you have inside of your house that is probably worth hundreds, low thousands of dollars that you can get rid of and you can even use to pay half of your rent. I know this is a huge topic as well. I did not make a video on this because it was just a lot kind of going on. A lot of people aren't able to completely pay their rent at all. I've seen a lot of other videos where they've been talking to actual landlords and they said they feel bad that people can't pay their rent. However, they also have to pay their mortgage. So what they've been telling a lot of people, this is not financial advice in any kind of way. It's just more like a logical way. If you can make sure that you pay your landlord half of the rent, that secures you at least a place for another month or so until things kind of get together. Don't be afraid also to talk to your landlord. A lot of people are very afraid right now. If you only have half the money, you only have half the money. They will probably understand with everything going on, hopefully, that you have some of the money, not all of the money. Just kind of throwing that out there as well. I've been seeing a lot of people who are afraid to talk to their landlords because whatever the actual case might be. Listen, if you are going to get kicked out, start a dialogue with them saying, hey, I don't have it all, but I have half of it. Will you accept half for the next couple of months and then we can work on a payment plan as things continue to get better? You'd be surprised. Not everyone's a jerk. They would be willing to help you along the way. Sell extra stuff inside of your house immediately. Right now, that's not a joke. Get rid of it. You don't need it. And it could be helping you pay your bills and get food inside of your mouth. A lot of other things. So what? I was just watching something. This is the reason why I turned this thing on and I was like, okay, now we have to start talking. I just watched something where they were showing, it was made a day ago. They were showing people, there's this place, I don't remember if it was in Montana or where exactly it was. It's like this, what's it called? Like a food bank, a food pantry kind of thing. They were saying that on an average week, they get around 60 cars that kind of drive in and ask for food. We don't have it. Can you please give us some food? It said roughly it's between 600 to 700 now with this one food bank. And I remember I talked about that before in another video. Apparently it's gotten even crazier. 600 to 700 cars for one food bank is absolutely completely insane. As the cars were driving into this thing, it was like a huge loop of cars. I haven't seen anything like that in my entire life. The host of the talking show, whatever, the interviewer, was asking one of the food bank people. He goes, I see a lot of cars are pulling in here. He goes, I'm also noticing a lot of them are Mercedes. I see a couple Lexus, a couple Hummers, a couple so-and-so, a couple BMWs. And the guy was like, yeah, man, people just don't have it right now. And I sat there and I was like, if I was in a situation, and most of these people who they were interviewing, walking up to with the masks and the face and the cars and stuff like that, these people had 2 kids in the back, husband and wife, partners sitting next to each other, whatever, what have you. And the interviewer was like, you have a really expensive car. They go, yeah, man, it's so difficult. And I was like, if I was struggling, the first thing I would do is sell my expensive car. I don't care if you can only get 12, 13, 14, 15,000 for the car that you spent 33,000 for. I would buy a car that's about a good 2, 3, 4,000. A 95 Mazda Miata. I don't care what it is, as long as I can drive it and know that it won't clunker down on me. And use the rest of the money for other things. Like the fact that some of these people were driving in with a Lexus blew my mind. I don't know if that's no. I know it's a common thing, but it just should not be a common thing. I would suggest, logically and mathematically, if you happen to have more cars than you and your partner need, if both of you share, let's say logically, if you know that you both need one car because you're never really out of the house at different times, sell the other car. If you have 3 cars and it's you and your partner, what's the third car for? I'm pretty sure your 4-year-old cannot drive yet. So I think a lot of people right now are afraid of losing their way of life. I think this is a huge reality check to a lot of people who live in this hyper consumer, give me everything kind of world. And the problem is that they're going to continue to be shocked for a very long time, because odds are the previous way of life is not going to return anytime soon. Not here to scare you, not here to you. But you have to understand, this is already wild. When you have a situation where there are 60 million people inside of one country, the amount of people alone who don't have jobs, who are legally able to apply for not having jobs within America, is more than the entire population of Canada. Let that sink in for a moment. And think of how many more people over the next couple of weeks we're going to see also applying for jobless benefits, and also the huge other chunk of people who aren't able to apply for them at all. It's going to get real. It's already real. It's been real for a couple of weeks now. I'm sure a lot of people are definitely understanding and shaking their heads as I'm talking about all of this. If you have excess, I am sorry for you. It is time to let it go. There's no way that this is going to continue. There's no way that you're going to continue to be able to live the life that you lived before in complete utter luxury based off of debt and all this other stuff when you simply did not have it. Let it go. It's time to sell it. If you sell it at a huge loss, It is what it is. I assume eating and you having a roof over your head are far more important. I hope they're more important than you having that extra car, all this other luxury stuff around your house that you need in the first place. That's just the complete thing. I love every single one of you. However, it's time to grow up. Realistically, I've seen I know a couple of other people who have recently bought Hummers, bought Range Rovers, and all this other kind of really cool stuff that they don't need in the first place. And I'm like, you don't have a job. Why are you buying all of this stuff? Like, what in your mind makes you think in about a month or two, everything's gonna snap back to normal? You can be like, okay, life resume. And listen, it's 2020. The last economic crash was in 2008, 2009. Before that, it was in 2001. In the year 2000, we also had a stock market crash when the dot-com bubble popped. We had an issue and a recession around 1998. There was an issue around 1991, 92, somewhere around that area. 1987, 1980, and it keeps going back over and over. How many times do people have to get burned before they realize that this is going to continue happening? I'm going to psychic right now and just going to assume in the year 2028, something other similar economic downfall, recession, depression thing will also take place. The documentaries are going to pop up once again. How many people are shocked? I had no idea this was coming. Me and my husband had 15 cars and I can't pay the rent. It makes no sense. I saw a documentary a couple of months ago. You can find it. Try and find it. It was from 3 years ago. It was about joblessness within the States. This guy was making a high 6-figure, 7-figure job, had a house in the Hamptons, lost his job. 6 months later, he was broke, had to move in with his kids. How that happens, I don't know. I don't understand why. You understand how much in excess you have to live to have a place in the Hamptons to make a low $1 million figure. If he was at least making $800,000 per year, you lose your job. And 6 months later, you're asking your kids, I got to sleep on your couch. That's obscene. I don't think my mind can't put that into logic, and I don't think I ever really want to, because I'm afraid of being like, oh, that makes sense, and then kind of falling down that same exact path as well. It's time to really get it together. I've said this before in other videos, and I'm going to say it again, and I'll keep saying it until every single person really gets it. This is the time to start an online business. Things that have been flourishing over the last couple of months have been places that have been selling online or online content creators in some sort of way. You have to get into this right now. I'm not going to explain the steps of this. I have I think 2 other videos where I discuss starting an online business, how to do it. If some of them even say like what to sell. Because in a world where these jobless figures will continue to increase and more companies are moving towards automation, if you haven't seen the articles for people moving towards automation in the last couple of days and weeks, I have some news for you. They are going to do this rapidly now with the current situation going on as an excuse for why they have to start exclusively using machines. The other issue is these jobs that were lost are not going to come back, and it is fairly unlikely that within the future that we're going to see a robot tax. For those of you who have no idea what the robot tax is, if these 5 people lose their jobs, and these 5 jobs are replaced by the robots, has been spoken about that these 5 should have a robot tax on them, i.e. for every job that was lost, the actual job that was lost by the owner of the business should pay a portion of what would have been given to that employee based off of what the robot is creating. This kind of creates a form of a universal basic income, which is also being pushed back against by a lot of people as well. I think if nothing else, this is my own opinion, I think it's time to learn that the old system did not work. And it might be time to try and figure out how to create something. One of the main obstacles for a universal basic income, which isn't even the point of this video, has been people don't want their taxes to increase. If we are able to tax the actual Teslas and Apples and have those taxes from them pay you, it seems fairly doable. There's a way to do everything. And when you talk about we're at 40 million people, What are we going to do when we have 60 million people who don't have jobs? It's just completely out there. Create an online business, create an online course, tutor people online, watch the other video. I think I also ranted before in that one as well. You have to start something online right now. You have to get away from employer dependence in some sort of way. Even if this online thing is only making you an extra $500 per month, hopefully that pays half of your rent or can buy you and your family groceries. It's a start. If you haven't been seeing this is also, type in Tesla or Uber, self-driving cars, self-driving fleets. Fleet is usually the word that they're using. This was the year. It's a very particular year. This was the year when many institutions, many companies, many enterprises planned on launching their self-driving everything. Tesla and Uber were planning on launching completely self-driving cars as taxis. And in the US, they were testing them in France, in Germany, in the UK as well. They were testing out self-driving buses and somewhere else as well. The idea has been for a long time, if you have one of these jobs, it's going to be replaced. Same exact thing, a lot of people may not be paying attention to the happenings within the blockchain space and the cryptocurrency space. A lot of these jobs that are going to be done by computers are also going to knock out tons of fields of people. Same exact thing with supermarkets, same exact thing with accountants, same exact thing with lawyers. All these things can be streamlined to computers. A lot of these jobs will be lost. I implore you, please find a way to create an online business so that by the end of this year, you are bringing in several $100s extra as a side income, and so that eventually in another year after that, you have a complete income because you have built up this business and you are making money even during an economic downturn. That's the end of that idea. It's a lot. I'm trying to really the word isn't compartmentalized. It's like I'm trying to really just fit everything together so that I really let everyone understand what's really going on. If we have 60 million jobs lost, 30 million are not coming back. I don't assume I'm going to have 30 million views on this video anytime soon. If you can, spread the word. Let people know. I think a lot of people have grown. The word isn't complacent. It has something to do with people thinking that the former world is going to return, and it's not. This year was already significant, not only mathematically, but economically, as something that we were expecting a huge shift to machines already. When we have potentially in 12 to 18 months, all of this has simmered down and gone away, and we still have 30 million jobs just within the US, which is still almost the entire population of Canada, not coming back. We are going to experience hardships like we've never seen before because we're going to see a huge wave. The system already could, remember, maybe you don't, this is on my other channel. The system already had problem handling 15 and 20 million people applying for jobless benefits. Websites and states and countries could not keep up. Imagine when that number just sticks. It's unreal. Like all this stuff that's going on. They're not going to be mass job rehirings. These jobs are already gone. Malls are shutting down. I can't begin to name everything that's closing. I remember hearing something about 2 years ago. Take this how you will. Someone said the only safe jobs for the next 10 to 15 years are going to be plumbers because they will have a steady stream of jobs simply because we have not figured out how to automate those things yet. A lot of people, especially in the States and many other places, almost said fire keepers, waste management services, people, garbage guys, garbage men, garbage ladies. They usually get paid a lot. I don't know if you've seen, there are tons of self-driving garbage trucks. I've seen them around. Have you seen them around? You can Google them right now. They have computers and cameras. They know exactly where the garbage is and they pick it up and they dump it into the actual thing, and then the self-driving truck continues to go on its way, and they know all the other routes that they have to take. So we have entered a future that a lot of people did not see coming. I saw a documentary last year where they were asking truck drivers, they said, when do you think robots will take over your job? And they said, 15, 20 years. Robots can't drive on ice, and they can't drive through rain, and they can't drive through snow. They took these men and showed them videos of trucks, huge cargo loads, driving through ice, rain, sleet, snow. And they took them to the actual truck, and I think they put them inside of it. And they were showing them, like the company who was making them. And they said, everyone, keep your hands on your legs. And the truck drove them perfectly where it had to go. And that was a year ago. And I assume that was filmed about a good 6 months even before that. Please create an online business. They've helped me exponentially. I made, once again, other videos about the passive income that I even get from them. It's unlike anything you'll ever experience. And it's also nice to have that cushion, to know that you're okay in that way. Yeah, the other thing, I mean, I think I mentioned this earlier as far as like the stock market, the stock market gains. And I mentioned this as far as a lot of people right now, when you look up what people are looking for with the market currently and its current situation, a lot of people are looking for returns, money in some sort of way. The stock market is no longer a guarantee. We went through a 10 to 11 year bull market. Prices kept on going up. However, it looks like right now that the stock market is being pushed up simply by governments in an attempt to make it seem like everything is okay. We just had news earlier from the International Monetary Fund, the people who pretty much make worldwide money decisions, that it looks like banks are going to be struggling for the next 5 years, as well as many other businesses around the world. Yeah, I mean, I really don't know what more I can say, especially if you noticed in 2000, if you've never seen the movie The Big Short, watch The Big Short, because it's a slight mirror of what's going on right now. A lot of people figured out in 2006, 2007, and the beginning of 2008 that something was very wrong with the markets and the markets were going to go down. What ended up happening is that when markets were mathematically supposed to have gone down, they started going up. And people who had been betting against or shorting the market, they were like, it doesn't make a lot of sense. And it was because people saw, bigger institutions saw that it was all going to crumble, and they were trying to make it seem like things were still fine for a very long time. And then prices tumbled. And then so many people a lot of people who had bet against the market had been telling people, the sky's falling, the sky's falling. They were like, the sky's not falling, the market's going to go up forever. When the market kept on going up and the optimism reached its peak, people had thrown in billions of dollars into the market. And then eventually, the market crashed. And all these people, you remember, you were all here, 2008, 2009. And that was jobless rates were not at 30 million people. They were at 40 million people. Things weren't closed. Like, things still remained open so people could kind of, go back, but things are worse now. I would recommend finding out right now, if you have a tax person, a tax lawyer, or a tax website you can email, find out about tax exemptions that you may be eligible for through all of this. There are sometimes maybe exemptions if you have lost your job. You may qualify for a lower tax rate. Try to figure out if you are eligible for tax credits, if you can have your house, your office, something else as an actual tax write-off, so that you're paying less money when you actually have to pay taxes for all of this madness next year. Figure out if you have dependents. People sometimes forget about, not that they forget about their kids, but they forget that they can actually have their kids as a tax write-off. Find ways right now. This is why I said the whole brainstorm thing. If I miss anything, write in the comment section so we can figure out how to get people's tax rates lower while also making money on the side to kind of offset all the losses that a lot of people are having right now. Final thought, cut down on expenses, cut down on the Netflix, cut down on the credit cards, cut down on your cable, your satellite. I know a lot of people who have cable and satellite who have like 700 channels, and they watch like 15 of them. And that's also true as well. A lot of people don't even watch the channels that they have, with the idea that I like the abundance of channels should I decide to watch one of those channels, but it never usually ends up happening. Make a list, find things right now. I mean, literally take a piece of paper, write a list, find things in your house, write a list of things you can sell, put it into a corner, start selling it. Look at your monthly expenses, look at your bank account, Figure out what every month can be cut. What are you buying excess of? What do you have behind the scenes? If you're not using Netflix, cut it off. There are also free movies on YouTube. They're not as good, but you're saving. All the extra money ends up adding up. I mentioned that before, years ago, I think. The people who were shocked to find out that they were spending thousands of dollars per year on Starbucks. That's crazy. That's absolutely insane. Anyway, I was going to say I hope you all enjoyed. This has been a very real talk. I'm a ranty kind of guy, so I do rant sometimes. I really hope you all understand that what's happening right now is not going to get better immediately. It's going to take a very long time. I want you all to be able to have a plan, to figure out how to start saving, how to start putting extra money to the side, to create a huge nest egg for when something like this does happen again, and create an online business to make sure that you have extra money rolling in. Figure out how to pay less on taxes right now. If you are eligible for it and it is legal, by all means, please do it. I think that's going to do it for this video. I will probably be back if we have a 50 million people unemployed. It's scary to think of it. It's absolutely insane. Regardless, I do hope you all enjoyed. Hope you got something from it. I hope you all, regardless of everything that's going on, are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all, every single one of you, once again, for watching and are listening. Put some of these things to work. Get to it. Start making extra money. Start saving. Thank you all once again. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.